I now would like to introduce remarks by Congressman Carol Miller, who will be introduced by Hera Abbasi, Vice President for Global Public Policy at Mastercard. And Congresswoman Miller will make remarks regarding negotiating priorities for services and digital trade for U.S. trade agreement negotiations. So I invite Hera and Congresswoman Miller to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I had a very nice long bio for the Congresswoman, but having been a former Hill staffer, I know that there's a tight schedule, so I want to be mindful of that. So I will just make my remarks a little bit more succinct. It's my privilege to introduce today's congressional guest, Representative Carol Miller of West Virginia. Representative Miller serves on the House Committee on Ways and Means and the Subcommittee on Trade as well, where she is a leader in calling for a level playing field and market access for U.S. services and digital firms. Her work in Congress focuses on job creation, economic diversification, trade engagement, and energy development. These are priorities that reflect the interests of her district and the broader U.S. economy. She also has a deep understanding of how cross-border data flows and open services and digital markets are foundational to strengthening U.S. competitiveness. With that, please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Carol Miller.
Got them all right here. Good morning, everybody. It's a lot of fancy words. I think the most important thing, and the reason I'm here, is because I'm a grandmother of 7 children. That is the best thing. So obviously I have a lot of years under my belt before coming to Washington, D.C. And I do tell people that want to be involved in politics, you really need to be somebody. Don't run for office because you want to be somebody first, because if you can bring experience with you when you're making policy, instead of just all these ideals, you do a better job. So I got here in January of 2019, was put on T&I and oversight. And I was just trying to kind of get my legs and decide what I wanted to do. So I started reaching out to ambassadors. And after 110, I stopped counting. But I felt like the one thing I could do is reach out my hand as an American, say, we're the United States. How can we help you? And that's what kind of led me to deciding I really wanted to be on the Ways and Means Committee and do good work for my country and the world. And so that's how my focus got there. I'm really happy that after hiatus of 4 years, the trade is now at the forefront of President Trump's agenda. For me, it's the importance of protecting our American companies abroad, as well as, of course, digital trade, but it's the back and forth. Digital trade, of course, is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and it is the economy and the trade of the present as well as the future. So I think it's essential to be the cornerstone of our trade negotiations moving forward, because really only with digital trade can we achieve the American First agenda. The newly elected president of South Korea, Lee Jae-myung, has vowed to push forward on passing digital regulatory legislation, which would target the United States companies and subject them to massive fines and office raids while leaving the Chinese digital giants virtually alone. And these companies, our American companies, are lowering prices for our consumers. They provide massive scholarships for our college-age youth, and they provide thousands of high-paying research and development jobs across our country. So you can kind of tell what I feel like. And if his legislation is passed, it will threaten the important work that's being done by our American companies, which I want to protect, and severely hinder their ability to best serve our customers. So it has been noticed on the highest levels by the White House, and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer has also been very vocal about it. And when we had a Ways and Means meeting with him, I asked him very specifically, you know, he said it was the United States who is going to set the rules for digital trade, and it will be brought up in all of our ensuing negotiations. And so I feel like it's our country's job to regulate our tech companies and not somebody else's. So I do, of course, agree with him 100%. And that's what my bill basically does. It acknowledges the closeness of our relationship with South Korea for years. How many? 60 years? A long, strong relationship. So I think it's important that we create the right environment for both countries. And my staff uses this term that makes me giggle, allyship. I had to look it up in the dictionary, but it really is a word. But how our relationship with our allies are so critical. And, you know, after waiting for years to really dig into what is most important to me, I'm just excited that we are at that pivotal point. And so those are my brief remarks. I thank you all very much. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Congresswoman Miller, and for all of your work and leadership on services and digital trade, and for joining us this morning. We appreciate your legislation with respect to Korea. And we really, really want to emphasize the role of Congress is so very important at this critical time. And we look to you, Congresswoman Miller, and other members on both sides of the aisle of the Ways and Means Committee and Senate Finance Committees for your guidance in shaping the services and digital trade policy, as you are so ably doing. So again, thanks so much to Congresswoman Miller for joining us this morning.